The first video game I ever played was Shrek 2. The second was Sonic Adventure. I vividly remember that day, sitting on my friend's splintered wooden stool, fan blowing hot gusts of summer air on my back, his family computer whirring as if it could explode at any moment, as he showed me this game about a spiky blue dude who liked to run very fast. I was mesmerized and begged him to share the CD with me. That marks the day that I grew a bit of an obsession with the spike-having, chili cheese dog gobbling, too cool, too fast blue fiend. Would it surprise you to know that I didn't do too well socially as a kid? Or as an adult. I would consume any and all Sonic media I can find, so when my mom was able to scrounge up whatever coins she could spare to buy the 2006 Sonic the Hedgehog game for me, I was exhilarated to say the least. Many years later, I find that people have very strong feelings about the game, which piqued my curiosity, as I absolutely adored the game as a kid. But as we know, children are stupid, stinky, and cannot be trusted. Now that I have mature adult taste buds or whatever, I wanted to know, was Sonic 06 really that bad? Kinda. It's a bit complicated, and I believe that this game deserves a fair trial, so put on your comically large red sneakers and stow away your weird fanfiction between Big the Cat and Wario, you freak, because we're talking about Sonic 06 today.
Starting off, this game, like most other Sonic games, has music that completely, utterly, absolutely, and unequivocally fucks. I mean, come on, man. We start the game with the Sonic campaign, which follows, well, Sonic. The entire Sonic campaign can be summarized as a repeating cycle of Princess Elise of Soliana being captured by Dr. Eggman, Sonic then saving her, and then something occurs which allows Eggboy over here to capture her once more.
Are you cosplaying a Smurf?
Are you serious? I'm clearly Sonic the Hedgehog.
I don't know. I don't see it.
I'm sorry, I'm kind of in the middle of filming right now. Can you please go away?
Whatever you say. Papa Smurf.
I'm not a fucking Smurf! To get to the first level, you must first cross the Rings of Death. Ideally, this should be as simple as pressing a button, but before even starting the first level, we learn about one of the many repeating themes in this game. Mechanics which don't quite work the way they're meant to. For some reason, Sonic sometimes just stops mid-dash and falls into the void. Luckily for me, I got it on the second try, but I vividly remember continuously dying here as a kid, not knowing what I'm doing wrong. The first level here is similar to the one in Sonic Adventure. It's this fun, sunny beach level, the first half of which being pretty chill and easy. Aside from a bit of jank like this wall running section which is nearly impossible to control, it's a cakewalk. Like Sonic Adventure, it also has the iconic section where you run away from a whale, which can I say is a scene that lives rent-free in my head. It just always brings such a warmness to my heart. However, nothing good ever lasts, as this is followed by a Tails section who now for some reason throws coins instead of doing his classic tail attack, and his flight controls are comparable to flying a helicopter straight into a tornado with every single drug known to mankind flowing through your bloodstream. Even worse, when you finally get past the Tails section, you get thrown into your first hyper speed section, which in theory seems cool, but controlling Sonic here makes Tails' flight controls feel like playing Barbie Horse Adventure.
Video on that coming soon, by the way.
Unable to catch up to Eggman, we head back to the city where we have to help this dumb child off a roof to unlock the entrance to the next level, which is yet another theme you'll notice. The game just throws pointless objectives at you between levels to, I guess, immerse you into the world more, but honestly, I would have just preferred to play the levels one after another. Soon after, we reach Egg Cerberus, our first boss fight, who you fight by grabbing his antenna thing and directing him towards a wall. You better come into this fight with a protractor, because if you go into the wall at less than a 45-degree angle, Well, you'd be out of luck, Buster, because that don't do shit. After the first of many underwhelming bosses, Sonic grabs Elise and runs through the dusty desert to get to the default Windows XP wallpaper. We get a bit of lore where Elise explains to us that her country honors a sun god named Solaris, whose rage is prophesied to destroy the world one day. In fact, 10 years ago, this disaster almost unleashed upon the world, but something stopped it. Elise doesn't exactly remember what happened as she was very young. The only thing she remembers is her father dying that day. Sonic responds to all this with, "Damn, that's crazy. You should smile more, baby girl." Wait, is this meant to be a romance arc? No, that would be weird. They wouldn't do that. They head back to Soliana, where we run into Silver the Hedgehog, who for some reason thinks he needs to destroy Sonic to save the future of the world. This fight is very stupid, as Silver, who has telekinetic powers, can just grab you if you get close to him. The only method I could find for this fight is to just run around in circles until you hear him say, "How about this?" which is his voice line when he picks shit up to throw at you, making him vulnerable. Despite beating him in this fight, the cutscene afterward implies you actually lost, so what was the... Whatever. As this was happening, Elise gets captured again because she has the spatial awareness of a tortilla chip, and Amy comes to stop Silver before he telekinetically smacks Slomic in the ass. Getting to the next level involves you having to deal with a myriad of random obstacles, such as solving this commander's riddle.
Hey.
You do know I'm trying to save your princess right now, right? From a mad scientist who's currently trying to dominate the world, I may add. Don't you have something better to do, like, oh, I don't know, taking care of the killer robots who are currently massacring your people?
No. Hey.
See, the taxpayer money is being allocated well. Sure, what the hell?
Yeah.
Then you gotta kill some robots to get to Knuckles, who has a message from Dr. Robotlick inviting you to come to his base in White Acropolis to exchange a Chaos Emerald for Elise. And finally, to get to White Acropolis, you must kill another slew of robots. All of that to get to what I think is probably the worst level in this entire game. It starts off with a snowboarding section with the worst controls you can imagine. You're forced to play Tails, which is always a treat, and the last section of this level is an open area that's just boring and confusing to navigate.
Oh yeah, also losing all your lives here allows you the pleasure of having to redo everything you did prior to this level, as your previous save was right after the Silver fight. Ask me how I know.
Sonic and crew enter Eggman's base, where they give him the Chaos Emerald. In return, Edmund shows them his latest invention, which sends them to the future, where they meet Shadow and Mrs. Booby Lady, who are also in the future for some reason. The 5 of them team up to get 2 Chaos Emeralds, which conveniently are located somewhere around here, which they will use to travel back to the present. I wasn't aware they could do that. I thought they could only turn Sonic piss yellow. You know you're in for a treat when you start the next level with the snowboarding section. Cement? Boarding section? Within the first couple seconds, I run into this interesting bug where if you land on the ground in a way this game doesn't like, it just revokes your right to move forward, forcing you to jump off this cliff.
Also, one of the times Sonic literally just dies during the first second of the level. Just because.
Despite all that, I actually thought this level was pretty fun. It looks and feels cool, and there's this whole section where you're jumping between a bunch of flying debris, which I gotta say was quite the epic gamer moment. Although I died in the following hyperspeed section, I actually didn't really mind replaying the level. Sonic and crew reach some hallway where they stumble upon a conversation between White Sonic, Small the Cat, and Shadowed, who shows them the reason the future is in flames and ruins.
I'm over here stroking my dick. I got lotion on my dick right now. I'm just stroking my...
Not Shadow sends them back to the past to find Sonic. Tail then hacks into the mainframe to find out that Eggman's ship crashed the day he kidnapped Elise, leading to both of their deaths. Sonic gets very upset by this. I don't think I can put that in the video. How did this even make it into the final product? Holy shit. They hurry to the next level to get the second Chaos Emerald.
My memory of this game mostly consists of very vivid images of seemingly random sections, this level being one of them. Retrospectively, I've realized there's a common denominator between all of them. Trauma.
This level opened up a wound I've long forgotten about. There's this mandatory wall running section here that I recall getting stuck on for hours as a kid, as the wall running mechanics are just agonizingly bad. To my surprise though, I got it on the 4th try. Guess I was just a little pussy as a kid. The rest of the level is... whatever. The music fucking slaps though. Next, we fight Iblis, against whom you must utilize my favorite mechanic, waiting around until something happens. It's so disappointing because I really do feel like they could have done something so cool with this boss, but the whole fight is just waiting around for him to do one of his attacks, dodging them, waiting for him to drop new platforms so you can hit one of his purple balls. Iblis notices your shiny purple ball and pounces on it. Then you pounce on it a couple of times and it's dead. Extracting the Chaos Emerald from the remains of Iblis, the crew is finally able to go back to the present, where Sonic has a shocking discovery while reading the paper.
Wait a second. I don't know how to read. Way too dumb.
We move on to the next level, where we must stop this train that Elise is on, or else... that's fucked.
There's a lot I could talk about in this Whoa. Sonic, am I crazy or does that conveyor belt change directions?
Does this conveyor change direction?
Yeah, that's what I want to know, man.
After disarming all 3 explosives, you go into another super speed section, which is as broken as always, and catch up to the train. Sonic saves Elise, Silver gets in the way again, Elise gets captured. I really don't like this frame. Shadow then gets in the way of Silver, Sonic saves Elise again, Eggman has another temper tantrum and throws one more of his eggs at Sonic. Not much I can say about this fight. You just climb on it using these enemies it spawns and then smack it on top of the head. A bit more implied bestiality later. Sonic and Elise go through the tropical jungle, which was fun and pretty, but sadly quite short. After which, there's a sudden high-res cinematic jump scare where Elise trauma dumps on Sonic and more weird human-hedgehog romance occurs, which, after looking at Sonic's enormous feet, I gotta say I'm starting to get Elise. She drops to her knees crying, and Sonic, an empath, knows just the thing to say.
Elise, smile.
You see, if Sonic the Hedgehog taught me anything in life, it's that women love to be told to smile. In fact, anytime I encounter a random woman frowning in the street, especially during the night, I always make sure to approach her and tell her, "Hey baby girl, smile." They love that.
While Elise and Sonic were committing crimes against humanity, God, and the entire universe, Dr. Robot Dick flies overhead and threatens to destroy all of Soliana if Elise doesn't come to meet him later that day. Are we all gonna ignore the fact that this middle-aged, bald man is trying to capture a teenager?
Hey, not all bald people. But it's always a bald person, isn't it?
You replay the first level as Tails this time. I don't know why the devs added this section. Literally nothing comes of it. If that wasn't annoying enough, we now have to complete 3 trials to prove we're even worthy to enter the next level. 2 of the 3 trials are just a joke, but the combat trial requires you to defeat a bunch of enemies with 0 rings, meaning if you even get hit by a leaf, you die. It took me 30 minutes and several game overs to get past it. Sega? Fuck you. This next level, we're chasing the egg carrier before it crashes. In isolation, it was a really enjoyable level. It ends with this hyper speed section that's absolutely stunning, where the music, the visuals, the subtle mist effect on the screen all meld together to perfectly create a section so beautiful that I didn't even mind all the jank. Unfortunately, all of this is overshadowed by the fact that if you get a game over, you have to redo those 3 fuck-ass trials, which completely ruined my experience of this level. What a shame. Sadly, Sonic wasn't able to catch up to the ship in time. It crashed, and Princess Elise is no more. Following these events, Sonic spiraled into a deep depression. He tried for many years to bounce back to who he once was, but just couldn't handle the guilt that weighed heavy on his heart. On September 26th of 2008, Sonic was found unresponsive in a motel room. Autopsy reports confirmed that he had lethal levels of various substances in his bloodstream. It is still unknown till this day whether this was intentional or not.
At least that's my headcanon, which personally I think would have been more interesting than what actually happened. They went back in time and stopped the ship from crashing or something. God forbid we have a little bit of nuance and tragedy sometimes.
Finally, we reach the final level, where we find yet another ultra fun mechanic.
If I get on this ball, I'll be able to get over.
Be careful not to fall.
Tails, you can suck on both of my nuts. We reach the end where Sonic is just barely able to make it in time and gets on Eggman's ship, where this time he finally actually saves Elise. Eggman has another one of his classic egg tantrums. Before we leave, we must fight the Egg Wyvern, the final boss. It has the same mechanic as the dog where you have to grab onto the antenna, but even worse because now instead of aiming for a wall, you aim for falling debris, which is very unpredictable, and even if you get a hit, it doesn't always trigger damage. After each round, some platforms get destroyed, but it doesn't really make the fight any harder. Halfway through, he closes the distance a bit, and once he's on his last legs, or wings, he charges towards you, where you must dash into him and finally finish him off.
I really tried to like the bosses in this game, but they just weren't too interesting, to be honest. The saddest part to me in all this is that they clearly drew inspiration from the Egg Viper for this fight, but even though mechanically they're very similar, this boss just lacks that special something that made the Egg Viper an actually fun and challenging boss. My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Sonic grabs Elise and begins his escape, quickly jumping between all the debris, desperately trying to get off the ship as everything around them falls and explodes. In his attempt, they nearly fall to their deaths, but then this certified Michael Bay moment saves them. They land on this cliff where Sonic once more pulls off his legendary Riz.
Nice smile.
Holy shit, I wish that explosion took both of you out. Oh my god.
If you were to ask me as a kid who I thought was the coolest character in the Sonic franchise, I would have probably told you Silver. Replaying him in this game as an adult changed my mind. It's unanimously agreed upon that out of the 3 campaigns in this game, his is the worst one. Sadly, I have to agree. Let's dive into it.
Silver was born in the future, where the world has been engulfed in flames due to Iblis, aka the Flames of Disaster. As Silver broods over his shitty fucking Chungus life, his companion Blaze rushes over to tell him that Iblis returned once more and needs to be taken care of. The Silver campaign starts off in Crisis City, where we rush off to fight Iblis. Silver can levitate, manipulate objects with his telekinesis, including enemy projectiles, which is cool for exactly 3 minutes, and in areas with this green circle, you can use his power to do something or another. Silver's playstyle, unlike Sonic's, is pretty slow. I don't really think his playstyle is that bad, but it can slow down to a crawl at times, which definitely can get frustrating. We get through the level and reach Iblis, where we have our first boss fight. It's whatever. All you do is dodge his attacks and throw debris at him until he dies. Kinda disappointing considering how threatening this guy looks. We defeat Iblis for now, and as Silver broods about the futility of everything, this mysterious hedgehog who is not Shadow comes ranting to us about seeds and eggs. I don't know, I wasn't really listening to what he was saying.
Hello? Any particular reason you're staring at me like that? Okay, look, man, I'm sorry. I was kind of distracted. I wasn't paying attention. I swear I'll listen more intently next time. Just please calm down.
This thing, which we now know is named Mephiles, explains to Silver and Blaze that the only way to get rid of Iblis is by getting rid of whoever it was that summoned it in the past, referring to them as the Iblis Trigger.
I'm over here stroking my...
Memphis then sends them back to the past to get rid of Sonic before he triggers the events that led to Iblis being released. Silver appears alone in the forest of Soliana, another area I vividly remember. I got stuck here for so long as a kid. In fact, if I'm not wrong, I'm pretty sure I never actually finished Silver's campaign purely because I didn't know what I'm meant to do here. Even as an adult, I was a bit stumped. The game seemingly wants you to go to this portal, but no matter how I tackled it, I couldn't get past this pond. I then noticed one of them green circles over here. Damn. 2-0 against child me. That asshole was dumb as rocks.
Anyways, welcome to the jungle, where the majority of the level is spent riding on the back of a tortoise.
I think you mean a turtle.
Does it really make a difference?
Tortoises are terrestrial, while turtles are...
Wow, honey. That's great.
Finishing the level, we pan to Blaze, who can I say has the cutest goddamn design ever. I somehow was never aware of her existence up until replaying this game. I think she's my new favorite. Apparently, I'm not the only one that loves this character, as she has her own subreddit that's filled with cute fan art and memes of her and absolutely nothing else. Not only is best character because cutie patootie, but she in my opinion has some of the most fluid movement in this game and is so fun to control. Look at this shit. Are you fucking kidding me?
This is the type of character that the Sonic franchise is all about. So can you please explain to me how it is that you only get to play her like a total of 3 times in this game? And even when you do, it's usually for such a short amount of time. Whoever in Sega made this decision deserves to be locked away for life.
We turn back to Silver, who's now just spotted Sonic, but Amy, being the walking nuisance she is, distracts Silver, allowing Sonic to slip away.
And before anybody gets mad, I want to clarify that I actually really like Amy. I just hate the fact that her whole personality revolves around chasing a man that has zero interest in her. I really feel like she deserves so much more than that. Huh? Do I read feminist literature, you ask? Does a horse... around?
Silver and Amy team up to look for Sonic together. They head to Dusty Desert where my dumbass jumps into this hole thinking it's where I'm meant to go. But to be fair, why did it put a bunch of holes in the ground? Oh, I guess you unlock the door by filling these holes with balls? What is this stupid Resident Evil-ass door locking mechanism? Damn. Since we came here with Amy, we also get to play as her. And let me tell you, that shit sucks. I don't know why, but instead of using her Sonic Adventure moveset, which was fun and bouncy, they completely nerfed her, exchanging her weapon for one of those hammers doctors use to check reflexes. Also, she turns invisible in this game. What? Are these devs smoking crack? Since when can she do that? I digress. Hey, whoa, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is Nicholas. He is bald and wishes to rid of his affliction.
Actually, I don't mind.
With the help of the Sunbleached YouTube channel, things can change. Nicholas, search up Sunbleached on the youtube.com.
Which one is it?
You spelled it wrong. I'll just send it to you on WhatsApp. Hang on. Okay. Just a second. Oh, okay. Nicholas, subscribe to the Sunbleached YouTube channel.
Was something meant to change?
Of course, silly! You are now subscribed to the Sunbleached YouTube channel, and you too can do the same. Please do the same. I will cry if you don't do the same.
Whoa, hey, I don't like bald people. We now return to Sonic'06. Silver finally finds Sonic, and they have this fight again, except now the roles are flipped. Remember how Silver was just able to grab Sonic randomly and throw him around? Yeah, you can't really do that as Silver. All you can do is throw shit at Sonic while running around to avoid him teleporting on top of your head. Once again, Amy stops Silver and essentially tells him, "Murder is bad!" To which Silver replies with, "Damn, I never thought about it that way," and goes back to brooding, until Blaze comes and tells him, "Hey man, killing bad, but also killing one guy you don't know to save entire world is, how do I put this? Based?" And Silver replies with, "Damn, I never thought about it that way," and goes back to chasing Sonic. Entering New Donk City, you find here the most important NPC in this entire game, Hatsune the Pigeon. We enter the worst level in this entire game, but the devs had mercy for once and actually start you off with Blaze, which is the only fun I had in this level so far. Unfortunately, that only lasts for 2 minutes, and then we're back to our regular scheduling. Hey, so, remember how I said this level with Sonic was absolutely miserable? You know what would make this even more fun? Playing it with a character whose max speed is like 75% slower than Sonic's regular walking speed. After the level, we fight this guy again, and I gotta give it up to the devs, cause somehow they managed to make this fight even more dull. All you gotta do with Silver is just pick shit up and throw it. Exhilarating is the only word that comes to mind. When defeated, it strangely enough drops a Chaos Emerald.
It said this gem can transform your thoughts into power. Collect 7, and a miracle's supposed to happen. Keep it as a lucky charm.
It transforms your thoughts into power.
Since we're playing the Silver campaign, I think it's obvious that the next character we get to play is Amy. For a total of 1 minute to kill a bunch of robots. May I remind you, this is her weapon. Sega, your name will be plastered in big bold letters on my suicide note. Right after this, we have the first and only stealth section in this entire game. And it literally took me less time to get across it than it took for me to skip the end screen. Sega, I will kill myself. This is no joke. We get back to the train level where... Whoa. Silver, am I crazy or does that conveyor belt change directions?
This conveyor belt changes direction.
The only thing I feel like mentioning about this level is this one area here where you're meant to break down this wooden barrier, but you can only break it after you've killed all the enemies. It's just like real life. Afterwards, Silver encounters Schlonic once more, but wait a second.
Syphilis! Why are you stopping me? did you dye your hair red?
Why'd you say it like that? You think it looks bad?
No, it doesn't look bad. It's fine.
Oh, you piece of shit. You think it looks bad, huh?
No, I never said that.
Bold words coming from a guy with a hand turkey on his fucking forehead.
Okay, Buster, count your beans because you're about to lose them.
Count my beans? That's not a phrase, you dumbass.
Fuck you, asshole!
This fight was just like the Sonic fight, but if there were trains. And if Sonic were black.
One more dull fight and a kick in the head later, they accidentally open a portal together. Ugh, I hate when that happens. Shadow takes Silver back 10 years to show him the truth. Remember how Elise told Sonic that 10 years ago Solaris almost released the Flames of Destruction? Well, now we get to see those events unfold as we see Solaris escaping her containment, splitting into two parts, Iblis and Mephiles. Silver and Shadow split up and each chase one of them. The Great Orb of Floating makes its return here, but this time it's even worse, as you have to jump on and off it and kill a bunch of enemies to unlock the passage.
I didn't like this part. It made me want to poo-poo in my nappy.
Silver catches up to Iblis to find Elise and her father there too. Utilizing a Chaos Emerald, her father seals Iblis within Elise, telling her to never cry or else she'll release the flames of Iblis. Her father then dies. Kinda fucked up to tell a child, hey, don't cry or the entire world will go up into flames before dying right in front of their eyes. Not knowing what to do with the child, Silver leaves the unconscious Elise, who's around 7 or 8 years old, under this tree and then goes back to the present with Shadow.
But hey, it's okay because he leaves her a Chaos Emerald. So now not only is she an easy target for any pedophiles, but also any supervillains that want to get their hands on a Chaos Emerald.
Silver returns to the present and explains to Blaze that Sonic isn't actually a bad guy and that Mephiles was just playing them for fools all along. And Blaze informs him that Eggman has kidnapped Elise, leading Silver to theorize that Eggman must be the real Iblis trigger. To move forward, we have to help Anna,
who knows the secret. Don't ask me which, the game never specifies.
You have to help her get across town, which is littered with the rotten Edgeman's robots. No idea why it was necessary to bring her here. She doesn't do anything, nor does she tell us her secrets. But the priest here allows us to walk through the gate, so whatever. We now enter the forest once more and head to the Kingdom Valley level, but not without first doing another pointless 3 trials. Luckily, this time it wasn't anywhere near as annoying. We reach the end, Eggship crashes, Sonic's sad, Silver and Sonic do their little chaos control dance, Sonic goes back to the past to save Elise, and Silver and Blaze return to the future to defeat Iblis. They go through the Molten Core, where this time we don't have to do the fuck-ass wall running mechanic, thankfully, since we're playing with Silver, and reach Iblis, where we finally will end its reign. This boss fight is actually not the worst, at least compared to all the other fights in this game. Its mechanics are similar to the first fight, but now Iblis can break the ground and also shoots these waves of fire which you have to evade. It's a bit tricky though, as the perspective is quite fucky-wucky. When Iblis is on its last foot, it conjures a major fireball that must be caught and thrown back at it. Otherwise, the entire platform you're on breaks and you die. First time I died was kind of annoying, but I actually think it's cool overall. Defeating Iblis isn't enough though, as it always comes back. The only long-term solution is to seal it away. Silver tries his darnest to seal Iblis within himself, but despite all his efforts, nothing comes of it. Man, if only we had someone here with flame powers who has a flame-adjacent name like Cinder or Ember. Or,
It's kind of bullshit that sealing Iblis and Blaze kills her while Elise was somehow perfectly fine. I don't understand why Sonic gets the good bestiality ending while Silver gets the losing his only friend in a post-apocalyptic world where seemingly nothing is left ending. Kind of a fucked up thing to do. Did you guys hear that? Oh, I see. It must be shadow time.
Are you like painting yourself black for Shadow now?
Yeah, why do you ask?
You sure you want to do that?
Yeah, why are you asking? Oh.
For obvious reasons, I am not going to be painting my face black. Do I think it would kind of be funny? A little bit. Do I think it's worth jeopardizing my entire future just for the sake of some stupid joke that'll make like 4 people laugh? Probably not. Personally, I don't feel like being cancelled for doing blackface, as I'd rather be cancelled for texting underage fans. The Shadow campaign is considered the best one in this game, and for good reason. Not only is the gameplay a lot smoother, but you also get handed a bunch of vehicles with guns, which excuse my language, but that's pretty hecking darn epic.
The campaign starts off with Shadow infiltrating Eggman's base in White Acropolis, where Shadow was sent on a mission by the organization he works for, GUN, to rescue another agent who's recently gone MIA. They did the impossible with this campaign and actually made this level fun. There's no more janky snowboarding, and the wide open area is actually fun to traverse because you have a vehicle that shoots rockets. Gee, it almost feels like this whole section was designed specifically for this very purpose. After blowing up all the searchlights in Les Epic style, Shadow and Rouge, the aforementioned missing agent, make their way out, but not before fighting Cerberus, who was also somehow made fun in this campaign.
The first half of this fight is whatever, but when the boss reaches half HP, it begins to resist you. In the Sonic campaign, Sonic continues to holding on when it resists you, which kind of makes it a bit harder and more awkward to redirect it into a wall afterwards. But in the Shadow campaign, Cerberus throws you off, allowing you to jump back onto his antenna from the air, which not only adds this element of coolness, it also somehow makes it a bit easier to redirect Cerberus into the wall. It's such a tiny difference, and yet somehow it changed the entire fight for the better. Really goes to show you that sometimes the difference between fun and frustrating could just be one small tweak away.
Shadow and Rouge teleport to Soliana New City, where Rouge now needs to drop this rod off at the GUN rendezvous point in Kingdom Valley. She asks Shadow to come help her out. Just as a reminder, Kingdom Valley is the level where Sonic and Silver had to pass these stupid trials to enter. But Shadow isn't like everyone else. He makes and follows his own rules. Look at how he uses a glider, for example. Sheep such as yourself couldn't fathom the concept of using a glider in any way other than this. But Shadow, who's immune to the propaganda spread by the lizard people cabal that we call our governments, always finds his own way. In this level, we have a Rouge section where you look for 3 keys to unlock the way forward, which I'm pretty sure is meant to be a nod to the Knuckles campaign from Sonic Adventure, which I personally love. Unfortunately, it's the only section of its kind in this game. The one thing I hated about this level is this hoverboat section where you have a bunch of random shit happening, forcing you to go through slowly and patiently. I wouldn't have a problem with that if I weren't playing a game whose whole ethos is going fast. All in all, despite having to redo this level 3 times, it really wasn't that bad. Reaching the rendezvous point, Shadow and Rouge get ambushed by Eggman. You'd think GUN, an international military and law enforcement organization who's in charge of protecting Earth from bad actors, would have some form of protection against a thing like this happening. But I guess even in this fictional world, government agencies are just as incompetent. Robotnik smacks Rouge, causing her to fall and drop her rod, which breaks and releases some shadowy thing. By the way, if you were wondering why Mephiles looks just like Shadow, we learn here that it's because he straight up copies his form. Memphis, who seemingly has a grudge against Shadow for some reason, teleports them away. Or should I say, teleports them awen. Cause he teleports them to the... Why did I write this in? Holy shit, that's lame. Which Rouge and Shadow figure out in this Oscar-worthy performance.
No, that's not possible. We're still in the doctor's base, but how can that be? Wait, there's no doubt now.
So it's not where we are.
Wow, you guys. Chills. They did it. They made a cinema. Thank you, Smegma.
This is where they meet up with Sonic and crew, teaming up to find the 2 Chaos Emeralds.
If you recall the Sonic portion of this video, I mentioned that I really liked this level. With Shadow, I liked it even more. It's the same level as the Sonic one, except now you get to drive an armed pickup and fly a glider. It's pretty fun.
Walking about, as Rouge was very cutely admiring the emerald they just got, they stumble upon E123 Omega, who's purely a visual cameo and definitely won't be the worst playable character in this entire game. Why would you think that? But for now, we meet back up with the 3 primary colors and head off to Molten Core. As opposed to the previous level, this one is literally the exact same as it is in the Sonic campaign. They didn't bother adding some new twist for Shadow or anything. The horror of this is that it means we gotta get through the wall running section again, and this time they also thought it would be funny to add this dildo in the middle of the wall.
You gotta understand, the wall movement in this game is such that every single 1/8 of a degree turn of your analog stick equates to a 3 million degree turn of your character. So even if you gently tickle your analog stick with a feather, there still is a fair chance that you're gonna do a 90-degree turn heading straight into deep-fried Hedgehog Town.
The level isn't bad aside from that. We fight Iblis but as Shadow this time, get the emerald, open the portal, and everyone but Shadow goes back. Shadow once again meets Mephiles, who informs him that in the future, after Iblis's flames devastate the world, humanity, crucifies Shadow? Much like when the devil tempted our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on his 40-day and 40-night walk through the desert, Mephiles too tempted Shadow to join in on his plan. And much like Jesus and the devil, Shadow and Mephiles got into a fistfight where Shadow beat the ever-living shit out of him, after which a random robot came and beat him further. Just like in the Bible. Syphilis opens a portal which takes us back to the present, where we meet back up with Rouge, who says Eggman seems to be chasing Mephiles. Intrigued by this, Shadow makes his way to Eggman to ask some questions. We go to the train level, where the first half is the exact same as the Sonic level, except now, instead of trying to save the train, we're trying to destroy it.
By the way, guys, did you perhaps know that, this conveyor belt changes directions?
In the second section of this level, we get to chase the train down with a bike. All wonkiness aside, it was pretty rad. We reach the train and Shadow jumps in.
Wouldn't the door have been easier?
Damn, Shadow, you really just got egg-mogged by a bald man. Kinda cringe, not gonna lie. Edmund tells Shadow to bring him Mephiles, and he just sort of agrees to it, I guess. After which, we fight Silver, kick him in the head, show him the truth or whatever, and make our way through the aquatic base again, but this time with a motorcycle. We reach the end where we seal Mephiles in the scepter given to Shadow by Elise's father. Which, now that I think about it, I don't think has a name.
Originally, I wrote this in as a joke, but upon checking the wiki, I found that he's only ever referred to as the Dookie of Soliana. No first or last name mentioned anywhere. Just thought I should let you guys know.
Going back to the present, we find another scepter to recapture Mephiles by lighting these flames around a fountain in Soliana.
As you do.
And then we head off to Ocean Wave, where Omega has engaged Mephiles.
You basically breeze through most of this level on a glider, which is fun. What's not fun is the thing that comes afterwards. This. Fuck this.
Omega is single-handedly the clunkiest, worst-feeling character I think I've ever had the displeasure of controlling in any Sonic game. I'd rather replay this entire game as Tails than have to play Omega for longer than 2 minutes. I'm not joking, it fucking sucks. We reach the end where Omega confesses that he's actually the one that crucifies Shadow in the future. You can tell this really upsets Shadow by the fact that he puts down not one, but both of his arms. Feeling the betrayal weigh heavy on his soul, Shadow storms off. Finally, we reach the final level of this campaign.
I have a lot of opinions on this level. Primarily that it fucking sucks. The level starts off with the hoverboat section in the worst terrain imaginable, where even the slightest mistake will lead to you flipping over and just clipping through the ground. You have to pass between these pillars which spawn one after another in probably the most inconvenient way possible, forcing you to a lot of the time slow down and sometimes even full on stop. May I remind you, this is a game about speed. Whoever thought about adding these round parts with boosters on them, fuck you. Literally impossible to control when you gather speed. And can someone please explain to me why I had to play Omega through half of this level? Truly, what the fuck was going on in the heads of whoever made these decisions? I am not joking when I say this whole section with Omega has made me so goddamn livid. I genuinely do not remember the last time I got this angry at a video game. At this point, I just wanted for all of this to be over.
We reach the end where we fight Mephiles. The whole fight is just you fighting his dudes till your shodometer fills up. Then, using the power of Red 40, you smack him till he melts into the ground and turns into a million more Mephiles. Mephili? Do we have any linguists in the crowd? The campaign ends with a cinematic of Shadow taking his limiter rings off and blasting through, alongside Omega and Rouge, which is supposed to be cool, I suppose, but I just feel like I got cucked. They really just said, hey, look at this cool thing Shadow can do. Hey. No touching. You can only watch. After all this, we finally unlock the final episode, which I've never seen or played before, so I was really looking forward to it.
Oh boy. I was gonna do a costume for this last part also, but I couldn't be fucked. Sorry, not sorry.
The final episode starts off with Sonic and Elise just going on a walk. Mephiles, who I'm pretty sure is supposed to be fighting Shadow at this point, by the way, teleports to them and straight up kills the blue hog himself. Elise, distraught by this, cries for I guess the first time since being 7 years old, releasing the flames of disaster upon the world. Iblis and Mephiles join back together to become Solaris, ripping the fabric of space-time, or something. Conveniently, the whole crew appears together in this spatial distortion. And also, Eggman for some reason. Solaris transcends time and space, meaning it simultaneously exists in the past, present, and future, rendering its defeat a near impossibility. According to Eggman at least, who, again, what is he doing here? Hello? Silver then says, well then I guess we have to defeat it in the past, present, and future. But Shadow quickly brings up the fact that without Sonic, it wouldn't be possible. Suddenly, Elise feels Sonic's presence in the wind.
Would that presence happen to smell like chili cheese dogs, Elise? That's a fart joke for those who didn't catch on.
With the Chaos Emeralds, Silver exclaims, they can bring back Sonic. Which Chaos Emeralds, you may ask? The ones that exist somewhere within reach in this realm, obviously. What follows is a section that I think could have been very cool, had they done it in a way that didn't absolutely fucking suck. Basically, you have this sequence where you play each character one by one, except for Blaze, obviously, because that would be too fun. Speaking of which, why is she still gone if Solaris is here? Doesn't that, like, mean Iblis is no longer sealed in her? I'm sorry. Am I crazy? Anyways, you play with every character one by one, each one in their own level, where you traverse through it in an attempt to reach the end and get the Chaos Emerald, all while doing your best to avoid all these black hole things which pull you in a bit too quick and hard.
Let me list off a couple of reasons of why this whole section sucked so much. Number 1, aside from Rouge and Shadow, everybody else just sucks to play here. 2, a lot of the things happening here happen way too fast for you to realistically react in time, so the only way you can truly learn how to pass the level is through trial and error. Which gets me to my final point, the lives are shared between everyone. So unless you're an absolute god gamer or you've already played this section before, you will inevitably have to redo the same couple of sections over and over and over again. It's such a shame that this area that I feel could have been so fucking cool gets ruined by some random bullshit that's completely outside of your control. And the saddest part is that I feel that it could have been solved so easily by either being more forgiving with how many lives you give the player, or honestly just removing the whole live system as a whole, because they add nothing but frustration in this section. When a challenge doesn't come from actual difficulty and comes from bad game design, it makes no sense to punish the player for things that aren't their fault.
After struggling for much longer than I would like to admit and nearly dying right at the end, I finish this section, Sonic gets revived, and we move on to the final boss. Don't get too excited though. I want to paint a picture of what I thought the fight would be like. I expected it to be some sort of 3-stage boss fight where you fight Solaris in the past, present, and future, with each section being with one of the 3 hedgehogs. Just imagine that. That could have been the coolest goddamn boss fight. In reality though, you just have a 2-faced boss floating in the middle of space, which I do think looks very cool, but considering it literally tore the fabric of space-time into shreds, I expected something a bit more. You switch between the hedgehogs, each of whom has a special power. Sonic has a super dash, Shadow shoots red lasers, and Silver still just picks things up and throws them. The first phase, you have to fight one hedgehog at a time. Specifically, you first have to use Silver to redirect the meteors back to Solaris to break its arms, then you shoot red lasers with Shadow to weaken his defenses further, and then you can dash into its core with Sonic.
The frustrating part of this design is that each character is powered by rings, which are slowly being depleted. So let's say, for example, I'm currently playing Silver. I do a bit of damage, but now I'm running out of rings, so I switch to one of the other 2 hogs. Issue is, I didn't finish Silver's phase, so the only thing I can do with Sonic and Shadow is wait around until Silver gets his rings back. That's stupid!
During the second phase, you can thankfully attack with any of the hedgehogs, although Silver is kinda useless here. All you gotta do here is time your attacks along with Solaris's. You do this several times and that's it. I gotta say, the way it just cuts off aggressively as soon as it reaches 0 HP, followed by this cinematic which also gets cut off aggressively into a loading screen, just feels like the most fitting way for this game to end. We see a flashback where Elise's father shows her Solaris back when it was just a little tiny flame, explaining to her that Solaris, the flame of hope, will one day allow them to control time so they may rectify past mistakes. It is revealed to us that Elise's mother is dead, and this whole tragedy started off as a man trying to defy nature to bring his wife back. We come back to Sonic and Elise looking at that same flame from the past. Elise hesitates at first, but then puts it out. But not before Sonic was first able to tell her to smile one last time.
Just smile.
This in effect erases everything that's happened so far in this game, and everything is now back to normal. Meaning that canonically there was no underaged bestiality.
Before everyone clicks away, I'd like to do a little call to action, as sadly that's just part of this YouTube game. So, hey, if you enjoyed this video, which if you're still here, I assumed you did, please like and subscribe to help inflate my ego. Also, comment what other Sonic videos you'd want to see me play next. With that out of the way, let's return to the question. Was Sonic 06 that bad? It's sort of a complex question, and we have to first ask, how does one even define a bad game? All games have bad aspects, but obviously that on its own doesn't make a game bad. Let's take, for example, and I might catch some flack for this, but please hear me out, Skyrim. Skyrim is a very underwhelming game. It's buggy, the combat is just whatever. There's truly nothing exciting about it if you look at it purely from the technical perspective, but yet it has a cult following, and for good reasons. And that's because Skyrim passes the fucking vibe check with flying colors. So vibes can matter as much, if not more, than actually good game mechanics. I think it's fair to say that Sonic relies heavily on vibes, and I do believe that this game executes on that relatively well. In general, I think that most levels in this game were either okay or actually kinda good, and there weren't that many bad parts per se. It's just that when those bad parts came up, they can sometimes be so overwhelmingly frustrating that it puts you into this negative mind state that just doesn't allow you to continue enjoying the game. And since our brains are so much more sensitive to negative stimuli, it's very easy to look back at the game and only remember those bad parts. There's a certain ratio of good to bad experiences that your average person can have in a video game before they consider it bad. And I'm afraid that this game just barely crosses that line. So do I think this game is good? No, not really. But I also don't believe that it deserves the bad reputation it gets, as I truly don't think that it's a horrible game in any right. I honestly didn't hate playing it, and at times, I actually really enjoyed it even. You know, I really think that a big part of why people feel so negatively about this game is because of just how much potential it had. It could have been an amazing game. Really, all they had to do is remove Omega from the game, make Blaze the main character, and bring back the Chow Garden. It also wouldn't have hurt to give Sonic huge mommy milker.